Hi, folks. Welcome to the Montana Lifestyles podcast, brought to you by Treasure State Lifestyles Montana magazine. I got Steven with me, and Steven, your stuff, your art, is awesome with a twist. I have never seen anyone work at the scale of watercolor that you work at. It's huge. And so tell me a little bit about what got you into the watercolor, because it's not a forgiving medium, dude. It's a challenging one.
Yeah, no, it's definitely has its challenges. I learned from my dad. My dad was a watercolor artist, fairly well known. He's been doing it for 35 years now. He's currently retired, but he still likes to help out. So about 10 years ago, he got me into it, and I've just kind of taken it to a different place than he took it.
Oh, dude, taking it to a different place. And I have to agree, you got a really lovely skier hanging what looks like the wrong direction, but it also feels exactly right. And it's very, very cool, but you have a lot more contrast than you see in a lot of watercolors.
Yeah, for sure. I really saturate the paper, really try to saturate the colors, for sure. So just try to build up those colors, build up those washes, and it seems to help a lot with the vibrancy of it.
So the podcast that I do here really tries to talk a little bit more technique, things like that. You know, learning a little bit more about what makes your stuff a little bit more interesting. So, for instance, what kind of paper do you like to use?
I use arches,
rough. And then you were mentioning you buy those in some pretty big rolls, huh?
Yeah, the rolls are 51 by about 10 yards.
How much do you cringe when you have to make that investment?
You know, they're actually not as expensive.
Really?
Yeah, a couple $100.
And I'll tell you, just getting a pad of arches can be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Now, what grain do you like to work on for those, or weight?
That's 140 pounds.
140 pound?
Yep.
Yeah, so that would be fairly average weight, isn't it? Isn't 300 pound the heavier one?
Yeah, they have a 300 pound, but I find that one to be very rough.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're painting, that roughness means the color doesn't spread as far, doesn't bleed as far?
Yeah, it doesn't bleed as far for sure, and honestly, you go through a lot more paint.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Brand paint that you like to use?
Winsor Newton.
Yeah. Cotman series or Winsor Newton?
Just Winsor Newton
Winsor
Professional.
Newton.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Winsor Newton. It's good stuff. Brushes.
I'm going to get some flack for this, but
you won't.
I go to Hobby Lobby and buy the cheapest brushes there are.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
And honestly, it works for me. My dad, and I know other artists spend a whole lot of money on brushes. But
go look at his work. He'll shut up pretty quick. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I figure if it gets the paint on the paper, it'll work for me.
So now you have a wonderful collection on your side of course, we're in a kind of a Western kind of show. You got your really cool Western stuff, but I honestly love your skiers because you're pushing. The beautiful thing about watercolors, if done right, you get some super vibrant colors, and you're doing skiing, snowboarding, things like that, and you're pushing like the goggles, you're getting all this enhanced color that you wouldn't really see in a Western piece.
Yeah, for sure.
So what calls you in the direction of those different art styles?
So as far as the skiing, that's where I really started. You know, I was pushed to do art with my wife. My wife pushed me quite a bit to do art.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Following my dad's footsteps. And Western art, I did a couple pieces in high school and stuff, Western stuff. But I'm in the ski industry. I actually snowboard. I grew up skiing, and I did like working with the colors and making the super bright, fun pieces. Yeah.
And I personally love your super bright, fun pieces because you're taking something as stark as white snow, and whenever you get to use blue for shadow, really bring out some of those tones and things and make it actually colorful, it just is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And your work is fantastic, and it's at a very large scale.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at it from far away, and if you're trained in watercolor, if you're trained in acrylics and oils, you can usually pin what kind of medium it is. And to just see that mix of watercolor, which traditionally is a very small format, or medium format, and see it at the scale, give a size of one of the ones that you've done.
Oh, so my biggest piece I've ever done was 48 by 96. So, and honestly, I would do bigger if I had the paper. I would love to do like a 96 by 96. And I've toyed around with doing some seaming and stuff like that. So we'll eventually get it dialed in, and I'll do some bigger pieces.
So, seeming you're going to try and take paper, can you merge it together close enough for?
Yeah, for sure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Now, you like going that big, but then what is the time investment for some of that?
It just depends on the piece. Like
Watercolor can be turned around rather quickly.
Yeah, but I do, I'll do 10 to 12 washes on most pieces, on each area of each piece. So time just, depending on the detail of the piece, like what goes into it, the different components, because with watercolor, you can paint a section of a leg that's one color, and you can't paint anything around it because it'll bleed together. So, I usually have 3 or 4 pieces going at once.
Oh yeah.
And I have a big studio, and so I can just shift these pieces around. And like preparing for the show, I brought 19 pieces to this show. So I had pieces hanging in my wood shop also. I had pieces just everywhere.
Just hurry up and dry so I can put on the next layer.
Yeah.
How often do you use things like masking?
So mask oil, very rarely.
As I look at your work, I don't see any masking really applied to it.
Just every once in a while, but honestly, I just kind of do it. I do like, when I have a big negative space, I'll mask that off with paper and tape, so I don't get splatters. But other than that, I don't do a lot of mask oil. Not a ton, every once in a while.
So no templating and things like that per se?
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to come and see his work. Now, here's the thing. The show ends today. By the time this video gets out, it will be done.
Yep.
So, where do people go and see your work? Do you do commissions? Give everyone the story.
Yeah, for sure.
Spiel.
Yeah, so I do commission work, a lot of commission work. And as far as finding me, I'm on Instagram. It's at Stephen Boren Art.
Spell your last name really quick, too.
Boren, Boren, and Stephen's with a PH. And then my website is stephen-boren-art.com. You can reach out to me there. Find my phone number online, text me. I'm very good at responding to text messages. A little bit slower on emails, but I'll get back to you. Just pretty much on social media. You can find me. So, and then I show in a few different galleries. So, yeah.
And then where's home base?
Home base, I live in Liberty, Utah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's a little tiny town.
Nice. So a little drive up here.
Yeah, 7.5 hours.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. Go check out his work. Get on the social medias. Here's the reason why we do this. We want to support artists. We want to help artists, and we want to get information out there in the world about what makes their art unique. His art isn't here in front of us for you to see, but if we can inspire you to look at the scale of what he's doing, the uniqueness of what he's doing, that's going to make a difference for him. It's going to make a difference for you because you're going to add a special piece to your collection. And I got to tell you, there's some cool stuff that he's doing. You need to go and check it out on his website. And because you missed it here, I will always say this, there is nothing, no matter how good you can do Photoshop or what, seeing the work in real life will always be so much better. So, no, if you put an order in for something he does, it's going to get way better than what you actually order and see over pictures. When it gets to you, it'll touch your heart. So go and check it out. We got more coming your way here. Don't forget, humongous thanks, Ferentz Furniture, for donating these awesome chairs that we're sitting in and the furniture that helps us make this podcast. Also, Johnson Madison Lumber, our amazing sponsor who helps us put on the podcast. And Treasure State Lifestyles Montana magazine, free magazine that you can get anywhere in Montana. I should know. I drove 18 hours in the last 2 days making sure your magazines are ready for you. So, yeah, go pick them up. And we'll see you next time right here on the podcast. Bye. Perfect.